What is your problem with Christianity?
I think it's best suited for people that have daddy issues.
Christians are so capable of a kind of cognitive dissonance that you can't find in any other part of this world.
Christianity aids false interpretation.
If I believe that God knows everything, it means that we are in a simulation.
However you think of the world that God created as PS4.
Do you think you are still qualified to tell me about the nature of God and tell me that I should give my life to His Son? Or do you think you are qualified? This is Rational Dialogue. And if you are a Christian, I will warn you, don't watch this episode. Because I can promise you there are going to be a lot of bashing. A lot of the things that you don't want to hear about your religion. So this is like the official warning. Just the official warning. But at the end of the day, I think this episode is for Christians. And you need to hear what we have to say. Josh, what is your problem with Christianity?
Oh my God. Okay, so maybe I have a lot of tons of problem with Christianity, right?
Yeah.
But I think a major one is the fact that I think it's best suited for people that have Oedipus complex.
So, break it down. Let me understand. Because that's a complex grammar from psychology.
Like,
the last time I saw that word was in a psychological test. So, what are we talking about?
Okay, in Gen Z, modern, what is daddy issues? Those that have daddy issues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in that, okay. For instance, right? Okay, so you see in Matthew, Jesus was talking about, okay, and the types of sins that if you are thinking about that you've been told about sexual immorality, how it is in the Mosaic law. But I put it to you that whoever even thinks of that you see in ash and then you think of it in your mind, that you've already committed sin.
Exactly. Just don't want to agree that he has committed sin.
Yeah, right. So you say you have already committed sin. Even your thought is actually
you are a sinner.
The thought is penalized in that context, right? So that's it. And then later, so I was like, oh, if this is a game, then there's no escape.
Okay.
There's no escaping it. Oh, how will I really control my thoughts? Maybe you see other part of the Bible that is saying you purify your thoughts, you this one, that one, and all of that. The preceding verses will say you should, if your right hand will cause you to sin, chop it off.
Chop it off!
If your blood, this one will cause you to sin, chop it off.
Exactly.
Is that suggesting castration? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe that's suggesting castration. Okay, so now, fine. Now, it looks like, that's it. Like, it's a sin, right? Oh. Now, later on, I will now see in the First John, it will tell me that, okay, if I can open my mouth and confess my sins, He's faithful and just, something like that, to forgive whoever sins against it. That still looks like this is where the child daddy syndrome comes into play. That it needs me to, like, now that you've done this thing, come and cry.
Then you come and cry to your daddy.
Like, so more like a father that actually gave an impractical task to the child that he cannot really do. You understand? And at the end of the day, the father still expects the child to come and weep wine.
Okay.
At the end of the day,
to ask for his forgiveness.
For
falling short of a standard that you think is impractical.
That you said that is impractical for him to. So at the end of the day, the child is at best an imbecile. You get my point? So there's really no win in sight in all of it for me. Because okay, if you say if you've thought about it, you have already seen blah blah blah. So now if they say the rapture come or whatever, and you've not come to the part that you went to weeping wine. So what happens?
I think the Bible made provision for all of that by saying that God has chosen ones, right? And He's going to liberate those He will liberate. I think there's a verse of the Bible that said that I give
Have mercy on those.
Have mercy on those,
those
that
who have
mercy
mercy,
on-
compassion on those who have compassion, sort of.
Looks like a rigged game.
And then there's the fact that Christ have died for you and all sins have been forgiven. Is that not the case?
Now, is it how is that the case? Is it that okay when that's the case, there's eternal security or what?
By grace you are safe. I think there's 1 Galatians 5 and say this is for freedom that Christ has set you free. Stand firm there.
Now,
and
the
do not
issue
let
is
yourself be
if
driven by
that's
emotion.
true, if that's true, and I won't get confused and colo at the end of the day, if that's true. So how do I proceed if I'm saved by grace? So why then do I need to do anything holy? Do any all of that? Why is it that other verses say, "Oh, I must be holy"? If not, I won't see the Lord. If that's true,
Because there's another part of the Bible where Jesus was saying that not all you who call me master, master shall make the kingdom of
I
God.
make the kingdom of God.
So you are saying that contradicts with the idea that
It's giving the rigged game vibe.
Mhm.
Like you get it's at a point it gives a rigged game vibe. Then it will now say, "Oh no, it's open for her to contest." You understand? You can actually play the game. So I don't even know where it stands.
So I think talking to an agnostic at this point is not the best way for us to look at this question, which is that what is wrong with Christianity? If all of us here have abolished Christianity and many people, about 2.4 billion people out there, are saying that Christianity is the way. Christ. In fact, of recent, the Rabbi yesterday launched a book, We Who Wrestle with God. And the core thesis in that book, the core argument is that the Christian faith owed the truth to freedom and life. So right now, let me turn to this guy from the African tradition. No, he doesn't like that. He likes to be called an Isheshe man. He's from Isheshe camp.
Sheshi Lagba.
And for context, this guy was born, breathed, groomed as Emmanuel. God with us. That's the meaning of that word. And here is God with us. That is now Isheshe with us. So, Mr. Emmanuel. No, Mr. Previously Emmanuel. Isheshe Lagba. Why do you say Christianity? What is your ick? I think that's what Gen Z used to call it. They call it ick. Turn off. What is your ick with Christianity? What's your problem with Christianity? What problem do you have with Christianity? For crying out loud.
Yeah, about why I left the religion entirely. That's going to be an entire podcast on its own, episode on its own.
Okay.
But when we want to talk about what my biggest problem with Christianity,
Exactly.
It's the problem of hypocrisy. One word. Hypocrisy. Like Christians are so capable of a kind of cognitive dissonance that you can't find in any other part of this world.
Why is there so many psychological terms on this episode? Go hear me. Which one is cognitive dissonance?
Cognitive dissonance is the ability to hold one opinion and then treat two different situations as the case may be, not necessarily opinions, but two opposing opinions.
Okay.
And then believing that both are okay, both are correct.
Okay.
And then being alright with it.
So give us instances. So what are we talking about? What are we doing?
The most interesting part is that, okay, let me start with the most basic one that we see every day. You will hear that two people are fighting. Daniel Kinika, Samuel Kinika. And you'll be like, they are laid down rules in the religion. Like they are laid down, like the way things should go, the way people should live peacefully among all men. Different recommendations.
We are slap on your left cheek,
turn the right cheek. Different things like that. And then you will just...
I think there's this thing. Blessed are the peacemaker, for they shall become the sons of God. Blessed are the givers. Blessed are this.
All those things are there. The Beatitudes are there. The words of Jesus Christ are there and everything. And then Christians are going to be doing the exact opposite. And for someone who's not a Christian, you'll be like, are these people not supposed to be Christians? Or what am I missing? And then if you try to engage a Christian about this, they might even go as far as telling you that, no, we are covered by grace. And then, but even we know the continuation of that saving by grace that people still need to do what? To try to live in accordance with the laid down rules. Not like they are living against the rules. Because when the Bible is referring to wicked people, evil people, it's just people that are not that are going against this. I think one that is very popular is sexual immorality.
Okay.
Like,
I'm interested in that.
Bible really condemns it, like in different shape or form, like against it. But then we are having a struggle with sexually moral people in this generation, and they are wondering, okay, is it that there are no more Christians or what? And then you see that it's most of these Christians we are finding in this.
The thing that I want to think about there is that I remember that Pope Francis, I think that's the current Pope.
Yeah, that's correct.
Has assented to the idea of gay marriage,
homosexuality,
and
it does it not seem disturbing to you that a person can be living and in their head, this what I'm about to say is correct. The Bible says the Bible strongly condemns homosexuality, like every many form of is an abomination unto God and everything like that. And do you believe that people believe that no, these people should be allowed in the church? Okay, I don't have any issue with that, but the church should be getting gay people married, should be bringing them together. How does that possibly make sense in your brain? And then you have that, and then you still have the whole Bible, believing that the Bible is the truth, is the word of God and everything. How can you manage those two at the same time? And then be okay, be living life generally. So I struggle with those things. Or girls that are doing new cup, then in the morning they post, thank God for today.
Okay.
And not even only girls, so that I won't be like what's the name? Even guys that we know what they are doing, about how they are living their life and everything. Then they will still be like, they are going to church, they are holding the mic, leading praise and worship on Sunday, and they will be like.
When I was sorry to cut you, when I was in University of Ilorin, I was studying political science. For those of you that don't know me, that you're seeing this content for the first time. And I had a friend, he's a roommate with John. Yeah. So this guy, for a fact, he's sleeping with at least 2-3 of the choir, whatever, mistresses or chorista, what did they call him? But on Sunday, my friend is still going to be the choir master that is leading them in praise and worship. And
they will say the Spirit is leading.
And I was dating one of them. On Saturday night, she will give me head, or you used to call it, you know what I'm talking about. You know, she will so by the time it is Sunday, she will be holding another mic. On Saturday night, she will be holding my mic.
Sing to the mic.
She will sing to my mic. Thank you very much. God bless you, my brother. And then on Sunday, she will be the one holding the mic and doing praise and worship session. And people will be falling into spirit.
And then you say the Spirit is moving in that kind. So I don't understand how you can really, even if you are the one leading that kind of praise and worship. I think
in Iseshe, abomination is abomination. You can even die at the shrine.
If you go against that.
Some of those are.
So now my biggest problem now is that.
Is that true in Iseshe? Like, if
things are abomination, they have consequences. That's why I know. So to establish those consequences, I think we need instances. So that's the issue. But now, my biggest problem now is that how does that person feel? Does she feel like she's a psychopath? But no, their conscience are clear.
They are daughters and sons of God.
They are living normally. Are you not supposed to be feeling like a terrible person?
I think we were looking at the cases of rape of recent and life imprisonment or something like that. And then we saw that one pastor asked the daughters to come for sons. And there was some of those sons are
a bishop.
So he was found guilty.
Yeah. Or he was found guilty of rape.
Like 6 instances.
6 instances.
6 instances.
2 were sure.
Okay, 2 were confirmed because in those two situations, and they were witnesses and they were everything, and they were able to sentence the man to.
In those situations, did they find spam? How did they assert?
I don't even know. Like, no, I don't think there are such stuff. So I think more of witness reports in the case, not than evidence or
factual evidence.
And then there were facts like this person was alone in the pastor's house, a female, and so which which points to the fact that very likely sometimes that could not even be refuted by the defense. That's stuff like that. So maybe this was consensual or not. I don't know about that one. But if like there were too many people who claimed that it was rape and stuff like that. So I think it was a very weird situation where you can't really wash your hands clean and stuff like that.
So your question is that
So
how is this man of
will
God?
that man of God now feel
You know,
with himself? Like, and then
But-
and even apart from that, there was one other pastor too that I heard about recently that he went to prison for defrauding somebody.
yeah,
And then he came back.
and
And
his
he's still
church is-
preaching, he's still holding the microphone. And
yeah.
how does he feel deep down within it? So, like, even apart from him, how do people feel about him?
There's forgiveness in the religion, mind you.
Yes, thank you. There's forgiveness in the religion, but when it is being constantly, when it is like now their way of life, what's that difference of that religion with other people that you say are wicked?
But if you look at Josh claim now, the standard is so high that you always fall short of it. So we there's no scale at which you fall short of it that I don't see that grace will save you. There's that saving grace.
Now, yeah,
this religion.
I recognize the saving grace, but that's when you are reading like Paul's Romans, where he was preaching to people who are new. in
Can
the
I
faith.
interject?
Now, if you get to deeper parts, like maybe you are reading, let me use James for instance, like who was hammering on the fact, or Jude, who was hammering on the fact that you think God will save you. Oh, no problem. Jude is a perfect example. He was telling them that go and ask people in Sodom and Gomorrah. Go and ask people in different kind of instances where God showed that he is an angry God and everything like that. So all this under grace kind of stuff, I think it is being misused when you are now living the life of an evil person. Because if not, you are going to tell me that, oh, if I'm a serial killer, I will murder somebody and then I'll go and ask for grace and then I'm forgiven and then I'm the same kind of Christian as somebody who did not murder somebody.
But don't you see that the problem you're highlighting is a problem of Christian, not Christianity? Do you?
The problem, I will get to the point where it is now a problem of Christianity. That's where I want to use myself as an example. So now, even when I was a Christian, I was wondering, am I perfect? Was I perfect? And then I realized that I'm not. I was not. There were many things I was falling short of. And then I was still be like, you know, that kind of stuff.
Go is go.
So
Over 2.5.
the problem now is that, how was I feeling? Was I feeling like a psychopath? There are times when I will feel like something is off, but I will move on because I think that's what people do. So now this way it is the problem of Christianity. So I realized that, you can actually ask for forgiveness for every sin. I think there are only a few instances of unforgivable sins, like lying against the Holy Spirit and then blasphemy. I think those are the only two instances where the Bible claims that those sins are unforgivable. So every other sin, including murder, is forgivable. Now, if you extrapolate that and you think about, okay, so I'm killing one person every week, and then I'm getting away with it because maybe I have a good, legally I'm very bad. So I'm killing one person every week, and then I'm asking God for forgiveness.
Okay.
So you are trying to tell me that someone who is doing that based on Christianity, not like individually now, based on Christianity, is going to make heaven. When compared to someone who never murdered somebody in his life, was trying as much as possible to live a perfectly holy life and everything, and then maybe at one instance he got mad at somebody and then he yelled at them. And
Matches, there's one guy that went to heaven, came back, said that if you,
it's no more than 3 matches.
matches in the, when
But
your
he
neighbor,
forgot to say, God forgive me, when rapture came. And
yeah.
now the guy is going to hellfire. And then the serial killer is...
that if you are using woman hair, you are, all of those things.
And the serial killer is now in heaven.
That if you hug somebody, there's one woman like that.
Yeah,
I don't know whether Edizo can find her.
Always.
Mommy, what did they call Mommy Gio?
Yeah.
If you hug somebody, hugging is a covenant.
It's a covenant between two people.
So what you are saying is this way that they take the very list of offenses, very list of immoral act, and then they say you are going to go to hell for it, and then they say the worst of crimes out there is
you can
forgiving.
come and ask for forgiveness. The law does not work like that. Maybe that's why it does not make any sense to me. Because if you commit grave offense, there are grave punishments for grave offenses. And then when it's a simple offense, there are simple punishments for simple. So I realized that the whole system is structured in a way that encourages hypocrisy. like encourages doing stuffs that
doings.
going to club, going to everything.
Doings.
Just remember that on Sunday, come to church and come and ask for forgiveness.
And pay your tithes.
Or even you don't even need to come to church. Just immediately after you come back from the club, you use this yourself and do everything. You do everything undoable, ask for forgivenness, and then just say, God forgive me. And then everything is faithful and what's the name to forgive you. I think the whole system is structured in a way that encourages nonsense behaviors that encourages a kind of assurance in living hypocritically like that.
Wow, interesting. I like your hypocritical theory. I don't know whether you're picking anything from there. I don't know whether it's making any solid point, but we have John in the house that's going to defend himself. But before I go to John, which is a Christian body representative here, but his own Christianism is not strong. Or that's why we ask him that why is he moving from really strong Christian to just ephemeral Christian? Maybe. So before we get to him, I would like to hear from Dan Smith. Dan Smith has had several opportunities to be a Christian. He has chosen not to be. He has lived with Christian for quite a while. Although me, I'm not Christian, I'm not counting myself. I don't say that he has lived with Christian. In fact, he got his name Dan Smith from a church, Well, I will not tell you the story. If he's interested, he's going to tell you the story. So bottom line, Dan Smith, tell me, for a fact, why have you not become a Christian? What problem have you found in Christianity that is not making it fall for them like that? Why is their sweet word, their good news? I think there's this thing I like about Good News Bible, because it contains the good news, but the publisher is collecting the reality. So I love that. So basically, what is it? What problem do you see that Christians tend to have? Josh has said that they have Oedipus complex. They have daddy issues. They would love to run back to daddy, and it's so annoying, it's so whippy whining, And I think one of the foremost things that I also agree with him about that is that many Christians have daddy issues. You will now do something for they that have daddy. You that don't have daddy, you do something for they that do have daddy. All of a sudden, they will take all the glory to their daddy. That one used to shock me too. Are you whining? Look at my face. Look at my face. Are you whining me?
You now look like, wait, is that their daddy? Praise hungry.
So your daddy that not put money in my own pocket because me, I'm an atheist, right? You now use the thing I give you. I give you a laptop. You now go and praise your daddy because me, I'm so foolish that your daddy is the one that instructed me to buy it for you. Now, if I collect it back now, you still say it's your daddy that says you should collect it back. So I cannot even win because you have Oedipus Problem. So let me just give it. But now Dan Smith have a different issue with the religion.
Okay. Basically for me, I think Christianity is false interpretation. Right? Or should I put it this way? Should I say Christians tend to interpret their scriptures wrongly? Right? Some time ago, I crossed paths with a lady, and she was telling me, why will you be a Muslim? Why not a Christian? So you enter the paradise, enter heaven, blah blah blah. Don't you know Jesus Christ loves you, and that's why you're alive? I said, okay. What about those people in the mortuary? So Jesus does not love them. Yeah. What are you saying?
Is the reason why you're alive?
You're like, no, Jesus loves you and me. That's why you're alive. Go to the hospital. You see people there, blah blah. So
the people in the
those
hospital,
people there, those people at the hospital, are you saying Jesus Christ hate them, right?
Exactly.
The kids.
The kids are born with cancer, or they have,
Jesus hate them,
ailments and diseases.
And also, there's this thing going on recently where people tend to believe spirituality. Christians tend to believe spirituality over medical help. Right?
But Jesus Christ is the healer, the ultimate healer. Is the true? Is the only or something like this? People used to say that rubbish nonsense that's not sounded profane in anything. And if you look at his track record, he has a good ample track record of healing the sick, healing the blind, blah 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 blah. All of that is in the Bible. It's biblically oriented. What they are saying. So what's your
So
particular problem
I learned some Christians are against a blood transfusion.
Oh,
Right.
they are called Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah,
I
no
don't know
matter
of any
how
camp.
serious the cases or the issue is, they tend to be against blood transfusion. And I've heard several stories of people dying in the process of not agreeing to blood transfusion. Meanwhile, they needed that blood at that point
The
in
only
time.
form of blood is the blood of Christ.
Right. So there's this woman on Twitter. People were soliciting for funds for her. They say she has a complication, and in the process, she had kidney issues, right? And I just feel she was going through dialysis every 2 days and quote unquote. All of a sudden, the husband and the pastor said they should bring the woman to the church for prayers. That's where God will heal her.
So, they want to continue our dialysis at the church or what?
No, they believe prayers will solve a problem in the church.
Oh, okay.
So they took her to the church and they started praying and administering some herbs and quote unquote to her. And this woman was sending voice note to one of people raising the funds for her that she's dying here. You should come and help her. These people are not helping her case. She needs dialysis for her kidney issue. And the pastor and the husband said, no, she's getting better. They were insisting she gets. Bottom line of the story, few hours ago, breaking news, the woman is dead.
Okay. Interesting.
And people want to sue the husband and the pastor for manslaughter.
Let me recap. The moral of the story is that if you have a wife that has kidney problem, take her to church so that she can quickly go and meet her father in heaven. You feel me? Good. You can continue your story.
So there's a part in Leviticus. It's in Leviticus 14, 10 to 15.
Okay.
That's was basically talking about being against consumption of blood, right? And people tend to misinterpret that scripture, that part,
To me, don't take
to mean don't take blood transfusion. So they tend to misinterpret it and form their own reality with it. And before you know it, people are dying. People are going through hell because why? There's a part in the Bible, that's against blood transfusion.
To second you on that, do you know that the reason why some of the Christians, like all these people that used to do ritual and code, that they do it, is when they are translating things like give what belongs to Caesar, and they infer it to mean that some things belong to Caesar. So because of that, they need to do do this one, do that one, go and sacrifice this and that. Do a YBG for Ibeji, do this one.
Because I was wondering
why
you commit blasphemy against I'm
planting.
For Ibeji, for Ibeji, all of this. They used to do it in Seveli Sele and whatever they would do. All this. I've seen people that would be throwing corn on the floor and all of that, and they are Christians. They call them. That's how they used to misinterpret a lot of.
They will use locks instead of Oshedudu.
Oh, they will use locks instead of black soap. And that's also interesting, very interesting. It's just.
I don't know if you guys remember. There was a time we went to the sea at Lekki Beach. Right, we were there. Before we know it, some people came with salt. I think they were Christians.
Oh, they were doing.
They came with salt and were pouring salt in the river, in the ocean.
In the ocean.
They're pouring salt and doing all this kind of stuff.
The biblical root of that?
Where's that
God
called?
made a covenant of salt with David. Like it was God that himself that was saying, I made with David a covenant of salt. And that's a covenant that does not spoil because salt does not expire. That means the covenant is going to last forever. And then they took that place and then they ran with the hell stuff and they're like, you can use anything, you can pour salt in the ocean. And then someone that says you can sprinkle salt in different angles. Yeah, exactly. It's covenant of salt. You can check it, just search in your Bible, covenant of salt.
I'm lost. I don't know that you guys are partakers in this covenant. So your problem is how easily Christians can misinterpret whatever message they put in the Bible and bring it to real life implication and has real life consequences, such as mass slaughtering your own wife or any of the other things. That's an interesting. And we can see it's but I beg to differ, which is like something I was asking. Is that a Christian problem or a Christianity problem?
Christianity problem.
Because we can say Christians are the one doing that. But now I don't know how we can separate that from
Power doesn't belong to God anymore. Power belongs to Jesus. And the fact that it's only God that can heal.
And then when people that don't transfuse blood, for instance, when they are justifying their claim, they will say the word used in the original translation is consume. Instead, that shall not eat blood. Like that shall not consume blood. Which they translate to
which but like don't be like vampire.
Blood get into your system for any reason, in any way, shape, or form. So if you consume blood of another person, that's whether it's through transfusion, whether it's through intravenous, because if you want to take drugs, I remember I once read the Watchtower edition on that. Like if you want to take drugs, it can get in intravenously. Are you saying that person did not consume drugs? So because the Bible says do not eat drugs, so somebody can inject it into his system. Those are valid questions from the text itself.
It's, interesting. So now we have been making our accusations. This guy is still a Christian. I don't know if you have any problem with Christian or whether he has defense and rebuttal against all these things we have been saying. John, where do you stand? You have problems with Christianity? Any particular problem? And then have we all been saying crap? Have all these three people of God have been saying crap?
Today I'm not too
interested in defending.
See, I've been keeping quiet. So
I noticed they are not even using the you don't want to hear anything.
You don't want to hear anything. So that's why you're not using the headset. So that you
bro, I get hearing pa.
So what is the case?
Maybe next time the Lord directs me to do such.
Oh wow.
But for today,
there's
no leading.
There's
no leading of Holy Spirit.
Your spinal cord will break.
So, but do I have problems? Well, I would say I have different confusions. I wouldn't say I have problems really because I'm still in it.
Okay.
But my biggest problem of all is the idea of.
Let me correct you. Your biggest confusion of all.
Okay.
No problem. You said you don't have problem.
My biggest confusion of all, the confusion is the idea of God being omniscient. That is, God knows
the beginning from the end.
He knows the beginning. He knows the end from the beginning. So that is everything that I'm saying, that I'm doing now, and everything that I will still do, that I don't even know that I will do.
In fact, everything you are saying on this podcast right now, God knows.
He already knows. He already knows the next word that is going to come out of my mouth.
Okay.
And that could be a flex. If you look at it from a way, you can be like, wow, this God is wonderful. This God actually knows a lot of things and then is capable and know. So it's an awesome future. If I can have it, maybe it's a great thing. I don't know. Because but it is when you start realizing the consequences it bears upon you as an individual that believes in God. That is when the story you start seeing that as much as it could be a flex to God, what message is it passing to me? Now, if I believe that God knows everything, if I'm running with that, and it is established in the Bible, I think it's in Isaiah chapter 59, that God knows the beginning from the end. God knows the end from the beginning. It means
both ways, he knows everything.
Of course. So, like, it means that we are in a simulation. Why am I saying that? If you can establish that he knows everything that is going to happen, it means all those things have happened already. So it's not like it's just going to happen. It means it has happened because he already knows what will happen. So it means it has happened. That is just the...
Interesting.
So now, me that I'm trying to keep righteous so that I would inherit the kingdom of God. Do I need to stress myself, or maybe I'm going to go to heaven after all? I don't know. But it is set. It is finished. So I still have that confusion.
What does that mean for you? What's the implication of knowing the end from the beginning?
Knowing the end from the beginning is like right now, at this state that I am, if I'm going to go to heaven, it's already done. If I'm not going to go to heaven, it is already done. So whatever I'm doing right now doesn't matter because it has been written in stone.
What me I think about in respect to that is that if God knows the end from the beginning, there's no fun in that. I don't think what the Bible is saying that God knows the end from the beginning is in that global scope. I think it's just in like if you want to take an action, like if you want to move this mic, God knows that it's going to move to this other part. Not like in the all scope of things. He just knows how things move.
What do we mean by knowing everything?
So
what you mean? What you are saying is that we can still catch God in shock. That we still be shocked.
Sorry.
Yeah. I can cite the Bible verses that back that actually.
Okay.
There are instances where God repented, where God changed his mind. Let me read some of that to you. So that
okay, clear. I understand that part. You might try to, but what about?
He's not trying to. I'm not trying.
No,
I'm going to
saying,
speak to you.
I know now. Like you are giving a sort of explanation to it. But,
so, like for instance, now let me give you this one. Say God changes his mind, and the Lord repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. Which is something that I am still going to talk thoroughly about my own particular problem with Christian and the Christian God. He said, and the Lord repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. That's Exodus 32:14. And when God saw what they did and how they turned from their evil ways, he relented and did not bring unto them the destruction he had threatened. And then there's in Genesis that, and when God saw that it was beautiful, what he created was beauty. It was beautiful, you understand? Yeah, and God let there be light. And when he saw it, he said it was beautiful, you understand? He got feedback. So it's not as if he knew that it's going to be beautiful. He found out that it's beautiful. But what I think is that he know every element. I can tell you that I know everything about this podcast. I know how the camera works, how the lighting works, I know I know everything. I can make that broad statement about, I know that John is going to edit it. I know that it's BC that's going to create the shot, I know that right now, Godwin will or wishes to be on this episode and, and give his own point. But of course, so I can talk in that global scope and say, I know everything, But that doesn't mean that I know everything. I think that's what.
Although that will become less problematic.
Mm-hmm.
That will become more problematic when you see verses like now, I think 1:3 that says God is great in power and this and this, declaring the end from the beginning.
Those are like hyperbole of the situation.
They are just. And then when you start saying that,
they are just
Hear me out.
Uh-huh.
I like the word you used. You said maybe it's a simulation. However, you think of the word that God created as PS4. That he created X, created that triangle, created box.
And then you can see the shogs.
So you can press any of those.
So
but then,
at the end of the day,
he knows every player.
He knows
every
what
of the variables and
happens.
but then it's up to you to shoot it.
I think that's the argument for free
Do
will.
360.
It knows I can tell you I know the beginning from the end of a match because it's going to be 90 minutes, and there are going to be 11 players from both teams.
So it will be very easy to run with that argument. But things become dicey when you start realizing the fact that God created you and knows every element that made you up, knows everything about you. And it is clear that as human, we act according to things that make us up and things that are in our environment.
Okay.
So
and they planted you in that environment and put you in that situation.
So if
it's a football match on a PS5.
I'm in a situation.
You're expecting you to make the right choices.
The thing is, there's no way we want to say if you know that you have written your code in a particular way, you know exactly how it's supposed to run. Unless you wrote a bug. Unless you wrote something that maybe you made mistake or you make an error.
If you think about it like an AI system, right? It's generative AI. You can't just be so certain that the outcome is going to be the same every time. And new data sets are coming in and new variables are coming in. the computational power of God knowing everything that has happened to all of us is so immense that it's only a God-like creature that can even have it. So in the first, I don't think God is computing everything like that. That's why the Muslim, I believe, says that God is going to send an angel to everyone, and they start asking questions from each and every. Do you know Muhammad? Well, who is it to you? He will ask you questions like that because they don't know. If they do know, if they have been giving all those information, but they will have truth serum. They are going to meet me in my grave. Those angels are going to come with truth serum. So they are going to inject me the truth serum first.
Marobuka.
So that I will not be able to lie. You get it? So I will tell them, me, I don't know Muhammad. Are you talking about Muhammad that is living in my school? Which one? Say, you don't know Rasulullah. You are going to hellfire. So they need to ask those questions. So it's not as if God or any angels knows everything. They are still going to ask, at least as Moses say. But for you that you are a Christian, I think it's similar thing. It's still the same Abrahamic philosophy. Or what do you think? What if those are just, something of such that you can, it's not that God knows everything. Like the PS Boss analysis, like just, and then all these statements in the Bible are just hyperbolical praise. There's, in the Yoruba tradition, for instance, we do call the king, Ikubabaye, Alashe, Ikijurisha. You understand? There's that level of praise and worship. And in the place of worship, there's no rema you cannot reach. All you just hear is another banger. So, in that, you can say that I'm serious about it. I'm not trying to just make some rema analogy. It's just the fact. The fact that rema reached 1 billion views on YouTube doesn't matter. It's just like, that's it. You say rema is the new glory of Afropop. It doesn't matter whether we have Whiskey Day or something. You just see a statement like that just to glorify God. It's for the glory of God. So really, what they are just saying is that he knows everything. It's just a praise. He sees a lot. And when somebody sees a lot, you say...
So, in essence, what you are saying is that God does not know everything.
No, I'm just suggesting that I hope that's not the case.
Well, I think that's why I'm saying question and confusion.
How do we deal with... Do you have an idea of how to deal with someone knowing everything? That's another thing you have to think. Do you have an idea of what it means for someone to know everything?
I think that is a major issue that I have. The fact that someone knows everything. And if everything is, he knows everything that I am doing and I have done.
Mm-hmm. And that you'll be doing, probably.
That I might be doing. If it is, I might be doing. It is a different game. But if he knows what I'm going to be doing for a certainty.
But you can see that
certainty.
David was saying in one part of the Psalm, I think Psalm 144 or something, that God thinks. He was making that create that he thinks, God thinks. You can help me look it up. That God thinks. He thinks of creating that everything that God do comes from it. Nobody that knows everything, that knows that thinks. And then the Bible will account that David is the person after God's owns that. So if someone that should know God after Jesus should be based on the biblical corpus. If anybody should know God, it should be David after, because a man after God's own heart, And it's believed that God thinks. And if you think, it means that you don't have all the access to. The thinking means you don't know all it all. It's just like when I say 2 + 2. Do you think before you give me an answer? It's just like this. You don't need to think. That's it. You know it also. When God thinks, that means it's not you know it all in the form that maybe you just don't understand this concept. Do you believe that it's because you don't understand the concept?
If I believe that it's just fallacy, I won't be in the religion already again. So
what do you think is the case?
So I think the case is that I'm still here to find a peg to it.
Okay, now here's where I have problem with Christianity. If I now ask you the question, do you think the fact that you don't know that, do you think you are still qualified to tell me about the nature of God and tell me that I should give my life to his son? Or do you think you are qualified to do that?
Do I think that I'm qualified to do that?
Yeah. To speak to the truthfulness of the Bible, to speak to the correctness of the Bible, to speak to the life and the nature of Christ, to speak to the fact that I should accept Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior, to speak to the fact that God somewhere created heaven and earth and created me, or to say, do you think, you not knowing that? I don't know any other thing you don't know in the Bible. Just you being confused about that. Do you just think you are qualified to, give me to cast aspersion and give verdict over my life, to say I should move away from my wicked ways or something, or whatever the case may be?
Even right now, I'm still holding on to something, or whatever it is. So I still have some faith in it. So I believe in it. Now, if I'm going to ever tell you something like that, it should be based on the fact that I know this thing, I feel it, and I want you, or I believe that it will be good for you, beneficial for you. Because because the reason why I'm still continuing doing it is because I believe it's beneficial for me. I might not tell you the horse of it.
You call a disclaimer.
Okay. Here's what I'm saying that is my own problem with Christianity. There's the problem of double IP. That's how I call it. There's this thing that we do a counter from Iroku. Yeah. They have elastic one.
They don't have an elastic IP.
They don't have an IP that they don't have a static IP. So I noticed that there is that thing in the Bible, in the Christian world, which is like, okay, here's A, here's B. In logic, what we know is that A cannot be B and B cannot be. There's a law of identity, there's law of bivalence, which is like A is A, B is B, A cannot be B, B cannot be A. Now, all of a sudden, someone we claim to be a pastor, we claim to be Jordan Peterson, a biblical scholar, we claim to be Cliff. What do they call that guy? Cliff or Cliff, I don't even know for him. If we claim all of these things, they would dive into the Bible course, or they will use this. We say, we know as a fact, Jesus Christ died, he resurrected, he said that. Okay, you now ask them one thing, they can't find an answer to that. They say they don't have knowledge of that. They say they can't explain it. Or what happened with the problem of evil? If your God knows everything, why did he command the smiting of the Amalekites? Why did he command the killing of the child? Why did he command this one? You say no, you can't speak that. Do you know that God was so vested with the people in the Old Testament that he killed somebody over the fact that he slept with his brother's wife, that God commanded him to do, but did not come inside? He was using withdrawal method. And God struck him to death. You remember that story? Mm-hmm. So God is that vested in daily life. You will come as his representative. You say you know his nature. You preach. The moment asks you one simple question, you say that his ways are not our ways. Wait, his ways are not our ways. You don't understand his ways, and you want to come and meet me and teach me his ways.
Nigga.
Who gave you the communication? It's not like when you say you are a medical doctor, but you don't know how to handle operation. You are a surgeon, you don't know how to handle operation. You are a pharmacist, you don't know what drugs to use for malaria, but you still want me to believe in whatever rubbish you are saying. Because that's what it seems like. You don't even know the nature of the profession. You don't know what the God is saying. You don't know anything. But you want me to take you on your face value based on the things that you think you understand. Until I question it one way or the other again, you say, his ways are not our ways. The foolish thinking is heart. There's no God.
Yeah,
you know the foolish guy.
Doesn't that happen in daily life? They introduce,
like how?
What's it called? They introduce vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of full details about it. Do they believe in that at least? Maybe it's better than not using anything at all.
But then over time we discovered that it's foolish.
But then people were, it was introduced regardless.
I didn't get the fasting. I know nobody was telling me that I'm going to go to hellfire because I did not get the fasting.
Like they said, the people will die if they don't get the vaccine. People that, let's say, got COVID or something.
Mm-hmm.
That was this thing. And they had to say that regardless of the fact that, or maybe whether they are not sure, or maybe even the fact that they thought maybe it's 100, it's not 70, it's now 30.
Yeah, but we did that over time. There's knowing that it's not correlated with the facts, with the truth value. They don't say we don't know. And then because of that, we need to accept the vaccine by fire by force. They over time discover that there's no true value.
At the point of they putting it out.
But this is over how many thousand years now of putting it out, and then we questioning the Father. Okay, these are the people that have taken it. This is the people in this part of this world that died. This is somebody that that they were praying for, that the husband and the pastor were praying for that died. This is in the presence of high quality evidence. These people still stick to their narrative. That's where and you still want me to pay tithe and offering for that. You still want me to, they are really, if the government is trying to be precautionary, and you as a moral brother, you are trying to give me a moral compass to follow. I get it. But when those moral compass are failing, when your bishop, when your popes are falling short the standard, when you yourself cannot speak to the nature of the God you are following, what still give you the qualification to say? Even when your Bible is doing zigzag, let me read some of the zigzag for you. Even the so-called corpus itself is doing zigzag. You still want me to buy it? Let's start with the Father, the nature of God. It said God does not change his mind. This one is Numbers 23:19. It said God is not a woman that he shall lie. Not listen. God is not a woman, not he shall lie. Not a woman made that he shall change his mind. Numbers 23:19. And then in Malachi 3:6, I the Lord do not change. Emphasis. I the Lord. This is like they are quoting God. God himself is saying this. Malachi 3:16. Then we move forward a little bit and then we hear that. And the Lord represented of the evils which he thought to do unto his people. He doesn't change. Now he's changing his mind. Okay. When God saw what they did and they turned their way to people, he repented and did not destroy them on the decision or whatever as they are strengthening. This one is Jonah 3:10. The previous one is Exodus 32:14. Salvation by works. He said, first by faith. Salvation through work. You see that a person is justified by work and not by faith alone. James 2:24. Another one we say, salvation through by faith alone. For we maintain that a person is justified by faith apart from the works of the law. They just, God's treatment of sinners. God does not punish children for parenting. The one who sins is the one who will die. Zechariah 18:20. The child will not share the guilt of the parent, nor the parent share the guilt of the child. Zechariah 18:20. Now God punishes the sinner for sins of ancestors. I, the Lord your God, I am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sake of the parent to the third and the fourth generation. Exodus 25. God will do. No one can see God. No one has ever seen God. John 1:18. But he said, you cannot see my face, for no one may see me and live. Exodus 33:20. Then people have seen God. So Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, it is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared. The Lord who speaks to Moses face to face, as one speaks to a friend. Exodus 33:11. The duration of God's anger lasts forever, and the Lord's anger will burn against you and will destroy you from the face of the land. Deuteronomy 6:15. God's anger does not last forever, which is another corner. For his anger lasts only a moment, but his favor lasts a lifetime. Psalm 30:5. I will not accuse them forever, nor I will be angry, nor will I always be angry. Isaiah 57:16. The role of women in the church. Women shall remain silent in the churches. They are not allowed to speak, but must be in submission. Corinthians 14:34. Women can be prophets and pray aloud. Every woman who prays or prophesies with her head covered dishonors her head. 1 Corinthians 11:15. And so we go. Many. Earth is stable. Earth is immovable. The world is firmly established, cannot be moved. Psalm 104:5. Earth will be destroyed. The earth will be disappeared with a roar. The elements will be destroyed by fire, and the earth will be done. God is the source of temptation. This one is the funny, shocking part. God does not tempt anyone. When tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me. For God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. James 1:13. God tests and tempts people. Then God tested Abraham and said to him, take your son. Something that God cannot do. Something that God don't know how to, his nature, it's not in the nature of God. Now he's telling Abraham, take your son. Hope it's not another a devil that is speaking to Abraham. Or vice versa. Take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering. On a mountain, I will show you. It's just like when you are saying the COVID vaccine works, and then you are saying the COVID vaccine doesn't work. That's what I'm going. So the government said COVID, and all of a sudden they discover it's not doing one, and they abandon. Nobody is forcing anybody to. But this one, over how many thousands of years? And so the Lord said unto me, when Pharaoh refuses to listen to you, I will lay my hands on Egypt and with mighty art of judgment, I will bring out my division, my people, the Israel. So the contradiction just goes on and on and on and on. And then you will still stand in your royal priesthood, in your holy manhood, and still want to claim that you know what you are talking about.
Go ye therefore and make disciples of one nation.
Of one nation.
Baptizing them.
In your confusion. That's where me I have problem. Is that double IP? Is that, changing IP every time? This month and barely.
Like,
I remember when sorry.
Go ahead.
I remember when Calvin or Larry was called out about something like that on TV. I almost pitied the man. Because they were showing clips of him pushing FTX, and then when FTX crashed, and they were now playing him that tape, and it was like, hey, that kind of stuff. Then even apart from FTX, there are different, should I say, businesses that he has pushed like that, especially crypto related, that didn't end up.
Wonderfire.
And when they bring him to the hot seat, we see that people really need to be accountable for it. But when it comes to these things, I think it's just that kind of accountability is not there for Christians.
It's not there for the Christian, especially for the Christian. And the worst part is that the Bible was making it crystal clear, and Christians do quote this quite often. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Which is that God glorify His word more than his name or something like that. Yeah. That there's no one word of God that will go without coming to fulfillment. It should be a God of clarity, that utter clarity that brings order into chaos. Is that not what Jordan Peterson is preaching up and down? So all of a sudden, we are seeing this month and barely this argument for and argument against across the biblical corpus. That's where we have a problem with the Bible.
In fact,
and then you want us to establish the truth on that. What truth is inside, switch and, what do they call that thing? Switch and clinical. Catch and switch or whatever. They used to call it one phrase like that.
Bait and switch.
Bait and switch, How can we grant any form of truth in bait and switch strategy? You are right here, you are wrong here. You can do this. Thou shall not kill, but you can kill all the Amalekites. Thou shall not commit adultery, but you can sleep with your brother's wife and blah blah. Thou shall not. It's just everywhere. It's just everywhere. You want to make a point?
No, I was just jocosely. I was going to say that now that the time you are reading now the Bible verses, perhaps the sense of the scriptures. The thing where you are saying something about that shall not tempt, the Lord tempts.
Mm-hmm.
Then you are also saying that the Bible says, the Lord does not tempt, something like that. It's not like if your people will answer you, they will say there's ideo and there's ideo. That the other place it was test. That's ideo. Then the temptation part is ideo. That they will give you all this content. You now say, okay, let's say I accept that. Oh yeah, now answer this one. You know, like you will get answer. That's
you can't say the ways are not our ways. So if his ways are not our, why are you now explaining his ways to me? Why are you asking as if you know his ways? That's why I have a problem. Why are you pretending?
The point is, you can always say no, and the person should leave your side.
Point is why.
The point is that we do task exception, right? Based on the fact that you say you are having some connection with the divine. We allow you to ask our people. There's limited things that we are allowed to do that.
Why do we?
We in this context is that government of different parts of the world, especially like in Nigerian government. We allow people that have this point and switch, philosophy to back.
The we that you are talking about, like 40% of them are part of the we that are making the right. So they are still part of the everybody is we.
We are we.
So
I get the point.
Even you that don't believe in God, you are even minor to the we. That you are calling yourself we.
That's where I'm going. let me break it down before you do the Bawagon fallacy, which is that you're appealing to the crowd. Basically, logically, this is what I'm saying. If any group comes up now and say they are such, etc., and they pack people somewhere, we know that legally under the law, we can easily term them as terrorist group or cultist group or etc. Before we know it, they will have told me. If you want to give it a try, pack like 50 youths in one place. Before you know it, people will start questioning, what are you guys doing there? As long as we say we have freedom of association in this country, we don't know. Then we allow these people that have this bait and switch, this strategy.
And then you ask them what they are doing there, and then they tell you what they are doing.
I'm going somewhere. Let me make the point. So we allow them to pack them as much as possible, which is they can people that they can switch the formula tomorrow and say, God allowed them to kill, and they will find a way to justify it. We are allowing them as mass case to do that.
But I think we allow them to generally. Maybe we want to solve that problem, solve it upstream.
No, I'm going somewhere. Okay. Generally, we cannot say we have a preventative law because I believe any preventative law cannot work. We can't speak to intent. But I'm just saying it's not grounded in any truth value. And we are doing tax exemption based on that. We are doing this one based on that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not advocating for preventative law because if they have not committed any crime, you can't hold them to it. They may.
Because I'm saying that I even wanted to cite examples like MMM, cryptocurrency. People that have never made money from cryptocurrency.
But we don't exempt them.
But we don't.
And if they commit such fraud, we take them to court. You understand? But what these people are doing is they are benchmarking themselves on this bait and switch strategy, and they are using it to get at least let's start from tax exception. You know.
Maybe because law works for majority, and then if the majority doesn't have issue with it, it's very hard to have issue with it.
You know, so at the end of the day, it's a like Kamas will say that religion is the opium of the masses. It's the Igbo of the masses, cannabis that the masses are, you know, they are putting on. And if you want to know our content about cannabis, me and Beatrice, we had a discussion on Legally Speaking about cannabis. You can find the link here. So essentially, what I find is that with all this submission from, I don't know if you have somebody have any other submission on Christianity. What I find is that the Christianity is not a truth value religion. Is that an effective or an accurate description of the religion? It's not like this, they have the truth and this is it. It's just
or has truth and that's it.
I don't even know. But one thing I can say is that scientific process tend to pursue this truth, and then we tend to find like that.
Until we fought it out.
Until we fought it. And then and
maybe
if it
this
breaks,
one doesn't give room for
and if it breaks, we we look forward to a better explanation.
But is the scientific process not
to do PSR?
Is the scientific process not quite, what do I call it?
They say it's more stylistic.
not even real, not even achievable. Because because I noticed you used the word scientific process. That's why I'm not going to debate at all. The scientific process, I'm not even faulting that. But who applies the scientific process? We will say the scientific community. And then if we list the sins of the scientific community, we realize that it's like the scientific process is a way to just say, if we are talking about the this kind of Christianity that is somewhere that nobody can attain the practice of it, then the
real problem here that we cannot compare the two is that the epistemology is faulted by if someone is being unscientific. Let me give you one. There's this guy Holmes.
Theranos lady.
Yeah, the Theranos girl. She's in jail now. Yeah. So you can be unscientific and find yourself in jail. Very simple.
But nobody's in jail for the COVID-19, for saying that COVID-19 was 90% effective. Nobody is in jail. And now we are saying the COVID-19 vaccine is like 30% efficacy or something.
Yeah.
The margin is too wide.
And then
what happened there with the scientific process?
What we see is that the scientific process at play, which is like we come to find out that it's not effective, and that's how science gather data.
And that's the problem of alluding truth value to it, because at that point when it was 90%, is that true?
It's not true. Even in the first place, they don't say it's true. They don't say it's
the claim was that that's the effectiveness.
Okay, let me give you this. If you are counting a number, and you say currently, if you sum up all this number, is less than 100, can we say it's 90% true? That if we are saying 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 10, I can still tell you it's less than 100. Is that true?
That is true, of course.
But over time, if I add up the number, then it can break.
Yeah, but the difference now is that we are less than 100. It's different from we are 90%. We are 90. This number right now is 90.
It can be number right now can be 90.
The number right then was not 90. Like it was definitely not 90.
Turned out not to be 90.
Turned out that it was not 90. Given that.
Why do you say the number then was not 90?
There was no there's no valid. Why did that change? If that was the case,
more data given. That's why it's a scientific. That's why
that means that it was never true. That means let me give you an example of what happened there. So an example of what happened there was that we are testing. We found something new.
Mhm.
We are testing it. We tested it among the 5 of us.
So we tested.
And
No,
then
let
we
me give you an
realized
example.
that-
You give 10 people the
Yeah.
dose, and 9 out of them
And 9
get
out of
cure.
10. That was 90%
So,
accuracy,
sure.
right?
Mhm.
So when we increased our number to
200.
100 people,
Mhm.
it turned out to be 30% accurate.
Mhm.
That means it was never 90% accurate. We were just telling ourselves based on the data we had at that point. That means it's not truth value. That means it's just.
You know, even
That
Christians
means
will say,
it was
you know,
not
you
just truth
know,
value, but it was far
you know,
from
even
truth
Christians
value.
will say we see in part, we prophesy in part, we
Which
do
is
this one in
something
part,
Christians do.
which
They get it
is
50-50
just still
sometimes.
more like the Mont and Bailey thing that
They
you're
get it
saying.
50-50 sometimes.
And we are
Okay,
seeing
here is
even
different.
the-
Here is different.
Okay.
The scenario one is that you test with 10 group and it was 90. What will you call it that time? When 9 of them,
We will say it was 90 and the group we tested
based
was
on the
10.
test,
Based on 10.
based on the test group,
So it was
we have
90%.
90% effective.
That kind of transparency will
Okay.
will bring you closer to the truth
Mm-hmm.
than saying it's 90% accurate. What does that mean?
As in,
90%.
really, who does release a vaccine that is 30% accurate?
And now for
It's
FDA
not even
to
allowed.
approve it,
Like,
for
it's not supposed
FDA
to be
to
approved.
approve
Who
it.
does release
So that
30%
means-
accurate vaccine?
It was rushed. It was a rushed
Obviously
process.
now.
So now the process.
That's why I'm saying the scientific process. Now you are undermining what the scientific process include. It include all testing to today. The Christian will say something like God is unchanging, everlasting, blah blah, is always true. That's like 100%, right? They make another Christian claim in 20. When was the 90% claim?
And that was when during the COVID when it was 2020.
2020. Is God still not 100% true right now? Just ask John. It's very simple. Scientific process will say no. Based on the data available, we know that this is only 30% available.
But what's the utility of that? Like, what's the utility of a changing IP, a switching IP? Does that
You
mean
know, because you know
that
the main thing,
and
the main
what
thing
this
you're
gives
saying
us now, what it
face
means now
value
is that
face-
this 30% is still car. Maybe at some point we later discover that it's even.
No.
maybe
The
2%.
utility of that is that you know that for a fact you don't need to take it. You don't need to take that vaccine
Why
as at now.
FDA approved.
FDA approved.
Yes,
vaccine.
sir.
But as I want,
Or if you want to take,
Okay,
you know
what
that.
if we later now find out that it is 70%? Maybe the data they find out now is even not still accurate.
it's not true. Like
What do you
face
mean
value, the
not
argument
accurate?
It's still
where we
possible.
Because
started the
that's
argument
what's
from.
going on with this thing. That's what's
In
going
what
on.
sense?
It's switching. Like it's not stable.
Mhm.
Like we can't bank on it.
Now,
That's the meaning.
do anybody ask you to bank on it?
Why
was the
Why
problem?
was FDA?
why was
Why
the
do
FDA
Why are they
approving
giving
it?
you consistent data on the subject if they don't want your opinion to change about it?
No, they are not interested in our opinion changing about it because what do we call it? Obegi Omolowo and Kasoben. Nobody is contracting COVID anymore.
You
So what's the
are
utility of
confusing
the
two
data
things
now?
here. I'll give you this thing. I'll give you something that'll make it more easier so that it will not be a COVID analysis thing. So now let's say I used to have, let's say, $1 million in my bank account.
Okay.
And I say, no, I don't have money to buy a car. You understand? Now that I have $10 million in my bank account, have I have the money to buy a car that is like $5 million?
Definitely.
So you see that my money can increase up to a point.
Definitely.
Okay. So when I say I have $1 million in my bank account and I say I have the money to buy a $5 million car, was I saying the truth?
When you say you have 1 million in your bank,
When I have $1 million in my car account and I say I have the money to buy the car, was I saying the truth at that point?
no, you ain't.
So now science give room for changing time and data. Religion says we know the truth and it has always been.
No, my argument is not even that religion is right. That's not my issue. I understand that with religion. Now, science provides, just because science changes does not make science any better. This is just like the way
It makes it
it
all
does
of
not make it
Mm-mm.
okay.
You are making a big
No,
mistake.
sorry.
It makes it
No,
all of better.
No, it can make it better, but it does not make it close to truth value. That's just
No,
what-
no,
that's
in
my
the first
problem.
place, they are in the pursuit of truth all of the time. In fact, things that are already working, science hope to break it.
No,
Let
like
me give you
my
an
own
example. I can just
concern,
bring
wait.
up a religion now that is just changing every 2 minutes. Like it's not static. And then
you
not
make the
rooted in any scientific process. Just
Then-
me coming up with whatever I come up with. People, like pastors will do that.
No, that's where I'm going. Then your claim will be grounded on the fact that you don't have a definite answer. Just the same way science say we keep looking. That's the difference here.
So now
So
gives
science
us-
is saying that this thing is based on the data we have gathered. This is so if you have headache, use paracetamol. They have given you cars that drove for 100 years. They are giving you this, that. They will tell you, oh, if you use this camera, it's going to record for 2 hours. They are finding it there. Right? And I always say everything is a trial. So the truth value is the fact that they know this as truth. And then they will keep updating you with the data of its changing nature. And that gives you, now, here's the difference. One orients you properly. If you are talking about orienting properly, one orients you properly, the other wants you to stick with an old tradition that is breaking out. Let me give you an example. Put COVID aside. Let me give you one thing that.
And if we depart from Christianity to being the example of religion,
that's why I'm going.
I think what got us here, we shouldn't forget what got us here. What got us here was the fact that, okay, you are saying that your conclusion is that Christianity doesn't have face value, doesn't mean truth value. Truth value. You understand? Which I agree with. What I'm not saying is that what else?
Give us truth value. And now let me give you an example. So if I say you are scientifically, you can take a plane to US and get there in 45 minutes. Will you believe me? Like, how many hours to US right now? 6 hours or so?
Yeah.
So will you believe it as a fact, as a truth?
No, we believe that's false. That you can get, like right now, I can get to US within 45
if you take a plane from Nigeria to US, it's 6 hours. Plane can fly you
there. You say it's 6 hours.
Yeah, if they say
it's 6 hours, I will say, it's 6 hours. And then I
now, religion says that all that can take you to US is a 30-month journey. And that's it. So, they may develop another plane tomorrow that is even taking people there 3 hours. Right? Definitely. You might enter a plane that has turbulence and blah, blah, blah. Then they will tell you, accounting for turbulence, this is what happened. But the thing is that one orients you based on what it is today. One say, we have always known what it is. So which one is seeking truth value?
I think then
which one is truth value?
Truth value is different from
truth value is different from
because people that died, they already died.
Other religions.
Let me give you another example of truth value or not true value. So let's say your pastor say if you jump from 3-story building to downstairs, you are not going to die. If scientists tell you today that gravity, with the force of gravity, whatever, you are going to crush your bone and you are going to die. Which one will you believe today? Like assuming which one is seeking truth value? Which one is speaking truth value? What do you understand by truth value?
I think maybe that's what we need to establish.
Yeah.
Because I think truth value is the state of being true or being false.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this correct or not correct?
Not correct.
So now, we said that the Christianity, for instance, because I think we're specific about Christianity, that Christianity does not seek truth value. That is not seeking. Christianity is not truth value.
Exactly.
And I agree with that. Christianity is not true value. Like, something cannot be true and false at the same time. But now we have an example in even the scientific world where we are having things that have been true and untrue at the same time.
Like what?
That was COVID? Like, let me leave COVID now. Let me try to give another instance.
Give us another instance of what?
The instance that we give is the instance of Ajinomoto, for instance. Ajinomoto, what do we call it?
Maggi.
Seasoning. That's umami seasoning.
Ajinomoto
is carcinogenic, causing cancer and everything.
Okay.
And now, several years later, we hear that it's not carcinogenic, not causing cancer, and all those things were not true.
Okay.
So now that means at that point in time, it showed that the science world was not truth value because what changed that made Ajinomoto now no longer carcinogenic.
The facts of truth value is that you are trying to establish what is, right? Science will understand that the process might be faulty. In the first place, is why they end up giving you whatever the new reality they give you, and which may even be wrong, right? You get my point? So now, the goal is that we want to establish what is. That's what science is about. So even if that what is, as they state it, and they test it out, say proof A today, and it's proof B tomorrow, they are establishing what is today.
Is it what
then
is?
That's not truth value.
It's truth value.
No, it's what they claim it to be.
Now, let me give you an example. So, if you are running a code, let's say you are running a program on your system, and let's say user is logged in, it can be true or false, right?
Or false.
And then when user provides username, password again, it can now be truth.
Yes.
But is user login variable used to be false.
It used to be false
initially, then it changed to true. And then if you log out again, it can be false.
Exactly.
That's what it means to say truth value.
But if I declare a constant in this same programming and it is true, and then nothing was done to it, it's immutable, a constant. And then I go back there every single time, it's still going to be true.
Exactly.
I think, and that's my point, that in this situation we are talking about the humanism.
But no. The mistake you are not making, the mistake you are making is that science is not claiming to divine constancies. That's the mistake you are trying to pursuing truth as it reveals itself to us.
That is not
it's
not attainable that way.
Something of
It's not that it's not attainable that way.
It's unattainable because it can change tomorrow.
Yes, now of course.
So that means not true.
Let me give you. No, what do you mean is not true?
If it is going to change tomorrow,
that one has, my belief here is that one has to be false. Like, is it the one at that present day when they were saying it was carcinogenic?
Exactly.
Is it the one that was
the truth in the scientific world.
How is that true?
Why is that true? What makes that true? Is
based on available
They
data.
not lie.
That means something went wrong.
Lie.
Something had to have
They
gone wrong.
they didn't know what they were doing.
They didn't know what they were doing. That was the case.
The mistake you are making here is that you don't want to confuse two things together, which is step one. We assert that as of today, if you drink this water, it's going to kill you. Or you drink this thing, it's going to kill you. Right? And then later on, we find out with more testing, it's not going to kill you. As at that point in time, that was the truth established in this scientific committee. And the fact that the scientific committee don't take truth as a constant, that's the mistake you are making here. I'm not saying they are establishing truth as a constant. They are establishing it as a variable.
That is not.
And then if you do your check at that point in time, is user login? Calm down. Let me follow you as a programmer. If you check your content at that point in time, what the code will tell you is that no.
So now my point now is that means that truth is a variable. Truth value is a variable.
It's a variable. But now, yes, it's a variable. Of course,
then it's difficult for me to say Christianity is not truth
What's
value.
the theory of logic?
Since this can always change.
No. Here is slightly different. Christianity is establishing on constancies. That's the mistake you are making. Christianity is established on constancies. There's God, he lives in heaven, he do this, he do that. You either believe it or not. Even if it's breaking, that's it. Even if it doesn't work, that's it. It's different. We are talking about two types of programming now. You say user is logging, whether they provide the username or password. That's what one is saying.
Yes.
User is logging. This one is saying that when user provided login, the state of the situation can be.
No, that's not what is happening. What happened here is that after user logged in, the state was true. At a point. What's happening is that after everything,
what you are arguing now is that Christians change their value.
No, Christians don't change their value.
So what are you saying?
What I'm arguing now is that the scientific world has given us false values. That's what I'm arguing. Has provided us with false values that were false, that have been proven to that were later said to be true. That were later said to be
based
false.
on added data. Does that make sense to you now?
That means what's now the usefulness of the whole thing?
Okay, let me
be sure.
The
point is, you can't be sure at any point in time.
What do you mean you can't be sure at any point in time?
Since based on added data, this will change. Why can't I just say, oh, the vaccine they say is 90%? I know that based on added data it will change. What's now the usefulness? Like, and what based on added data that will change? I can just start using that kind of mindset to live. Like, oh, based on added data, this will change.
That's what science wants you to believe in the first place.
No. If that was the case, they wouldn't be saying that people will lose their job for not getting vaxxed.
That's what. Of course, decision can be made based on those truth values. But that's what science wants you to believe in the first place.
Okay.
It's the fact that those values can change. They are variable. They are not constant.
So
someone is declaring variable. Someone is claiming constant. These are the arguments I'm making.
I'm not arguing about the two stuffs. I'm just saying that we are talking about one is truth value. And I'm saying that this thing we say is truth value provides us regularly with things that are false. Just because it later updates it does not change the fact that at that point in time, this was false. What
at that point that it was true. That's what I'm telling you.
So the point is, it's more like
at that point in time, it was scientifically true. That's what I'm saying.
Now, science itself now tells us that at that point in time, it was false. Today's science is now telling us that at that point in time, it was false.
Yes. Now, based on available data, what we used to think was the case wasn't.
How do we now want to be sure that today's data is the true one?
No, but they are not trying to tell you the today data is
true. Science is not establishing true or false.
At a point in time.
At any point.
They are establishing.
Okay.
How do I put it to you?
South Africa, they say one who saw stem cell scandal 2005. Like South Korean scientists, one who claimed to have created the first human embryonic stem cells true cloning. Reality, the data was fabricated and no actual stem cell had been cloned.
So how do we get to that
Now,
reality?
this setback stem cell research and damage public trust in biotechnology. We see that the entire thing is even fabricated. You understand? Fabricatable and all of that. And then we are saying at one point or the other, this particular lie was
fabricated
true.
thing was true.
Is that what
At
you're
that
saying?
point in time, it was true. That's what you are saying.
That's what I'm saying. If the scientific
I don't want to trust that kind of thing in my life.
No, this is what I'm saying. If the scientific community say it was true with available data, you understand that this was true, then it was true. But then that's where you are asking me what does that scientific process constitute? There's peer review. There's evaluating the number. There's looking at what. There is the same scientific world that we have to understand that what this guy is claiming to be true was not true. What these Ajinomoto people were claiming to be true was not true. So you have to understand that the difference here is that someone is declaring is constant and it can never change. And someone is saying this is a variable. Okay, we keep looking. Oh, you claim that you created a biotech. Oh, okay, let's see. Let's test it.
So how does
Like
it
if
qualify?
you claim only, I would have accepted this. If not that decisions are being made based on this
false claim. I understand
claims.
that as part of the scientific inquiry process, and the fact that government will force scientists to come up with a true value at each point in time, at each different epochs, and the such true value will be worked with. In fact,
So
let me give you another example. The fact that we are going to build buildings based on scientific data. We don't know whether in 1,000 years some of these blocks that we claim that can last a lifetime we crack. You understand? Or some of the programs that we are writing on the system we do whatever. Or the AI we don't know that. But at a point in time, we build infrastructure on that. We run funds and we run payments on that. You get ATM card on that. You write a car based on that truth value.
See how much faith we are putting in this. So I would just want to see how much faith we are putting in this.
Exactly.
That end up that's in instances giving us false values for truth.
I'm not denying whether those claims, those truth value cannot be wrong.
So where I'm going now is that so I want to create a new religion tomorrow.
Okay.
This religion is going to always update itself
Good.
regularly, and we are going to start saying whatever is today. Tomorrow we are going to change. We will even tell you as of today that what we are saying can be false tomorrow. Like we are telling you there's God today.
Exactly.
Tomorrow might come and we tell you there's no God.
Exactly.
What's now the difference between my religion and the scientific process and science in general? Like we don't.
You just describe science.
Okay,
No,
my religion, we have literal things that you might call fabu inside of it. That we are going to see at the face and say, this is cap. And we in my religion, we are saying that the earth is flat. Or the earth is whatever.
Okay.
We are saying that today. But we might, tomorrow or next tomorrow, we can change our opinion and say the earth is cubic. We can change that. That's our status. We are making it clear.
Does that make it true value?
Does that make it true value? Does that make my religion true value? The religion I'm starting tomorrow.
It doesn't make your religion any true value. It just makes you come up with some ideas that you did not test. The science world, the real thing I'm trying to highlight for you here is this. Religion tries to create constancies, at least the ones that we know.
Yes.
Then science is trying to look for the availability in the world. There's a lot of things that change. When you get to this part, you discover this. Which
is exactly what my religion too is doing. Variability in the world. We are not declaring any God.
And we keep looking and we keep finding. Of course, this is science.
Our own is not. We are not following the scientific process. We are not saying we are looking or finding. Our own is that we are getting inspired every day, and the inspiration is giving us new.
Holy Spirit that is leading me. It's Holy Spirit that is.
Our own is another spirit.
And those new data, are they conforming with reality?
Is that a requirement too?
Yes, sir.
Like now, the problem now is that
do you know how science come to conclusion that this does not align with reality? This is false.
How?
Because it doesn't conform with reality of the fact.
So even though the thing is true, even in a situation where the thing is
even though they are declared to be true, let's say they have been declared to be true.
They have been found over time declared to be true.
True, and then they discover it doesn't conform with reality. Ajinomoto, we have seen that over time people use it, blah blah. Or we have tested and see that your claim that these things causing cancer is a lie.
Okay, so
your claim that
we persist a false true value for so long a time. That's part of the scientific process. We encourage a false.
We build on a false
on a possibly false true value. Is that not paradoxical?
No, it's not paradoxical. I just see that it is the same thing with the kind of religion I'm randomly creating tomorrow. that I'm
It's not the
saying.
same thing.
And
What
the
makes it
science is
different?
about perception.
What
in
makes
that
it
way.
different?
It's not about
It's how we
but
perceive
it's
it.
not the same thing. Let me break it down for you. Science will build this phone for you, make you make up.
We are things we do that we will do.
Like what?
We are going to tell people what will happen to them, what have happened to them in their past. We are going to do that. We are going to tell people those things. We are going to tell people this will happen to you, and it will happen to you. We are going to tell them future stuff that will happen to them, and they will come back and confirm to us that it really happened to them.
Okay.
These are things that we are going to do in this my religion that I'm starting tomorrow.
Okay.
And we are also going to have those kind of
And they're facts.
and they are going to happen. They are going to give us
show me the
feedback
religion
that it happened.
that does that.
I'm just saying that's the one I'm starting tomorrow.
And show me the
Because
religion
even
that does that.
Christians too have there was a pastor that was saying that Trump will get shot in the ear and stuff like that, and that happened long before Trump got shot in the ear.
Okay.
So they also provide such just
As
because
if
they did that,
the practical
just because
utility
they
doesn't
did that,
make
or
it-
because scientists give us cars, that does not make, or that does not mean we should trust everything they do. Just
I'm
because
not, I'm not saying we
that's
should
not-
trust.
There
There's
was
a
the
mistake that
truth value there.
even science itself do not say that you should trust what they do.
which makes my religion the same thing with science at the end of the day.
It's not the same thing with science.
What's the difference now? That's
Now,
what I
the
want to know.
difference is
If
that-
once I can point out that difference, I will see why.
The difference is that
Scientific
science keep this thing align itself with reality, and they keep evaluating the data on a ground of peer review. We can both look at the bullet and we can both look at the whatever.
So if
we
we
can
have, so if we have 10 or as many people as possible who are a pair, who are saying the spirit I'm talking about is telling them the same thing, and they can come to unism about it every time, or they can confirm the spirit from that spirit. And
if we can, yes, that's sure. But if you can evaluate your religion objectively, all of us can look at it and say, yeah,
no,
it's
not
true.
objectively, like
What do you mean?
amongst ourselves. That's what I'm saying.
You cannot say among yourself that because science is
objectively is
evaluated.
your scientific
This
process.
objectively is part of the scientific. I'm saying we are not following the scientific process. Just that we are
That's
having the
the
same
point.
outcome as the scientific.
Nah, you are having the same outcome.
Exactly.
You
Like,
need to show me that religion first.
that's what I'm saying, that I'm creating it tomorrow.
That's what I'm saying. You need to
spelling
show
out
me that.
if I have that kind of religion now, is that on the same level as science?
And of course, that's what
You should
science is
take
doing.
it that's
Yes,
as much
sir.
as more than the value they are taking other religions.
Exactly. Let me even show you.
And in fact, it should compete with science about
Exactly.
when it comes to.
Exactly. If you say you can give me a gadget I will call that will, and you will tell me
I'm
exactly how
not
to.
giving anybody a guide.
And what else? What do
And
you want
I'm
to
saying is
do?
that
What do you
there
just
are
tell me
several
my
things you
future?
can do. I can tell you what will happen to you tomorrow, and it will happen tomorrow. Is that not something that you can't find in any other place? Like that is
True value.
That's true value. That's so I can do
I
that. Just like what's special about a phone to call.
if it doesn't
There's nothing
happen-
special about a phone to call.
I'm going
And if it
to.
doesn't happen, I will say that
it has changed.
so it has changed. That's
Why
why
you don't do that, sir?
No,
that's
they
what
do now.
happened with all
We
these
say we
instances
see
we have
fraud.
cited.
Entirely.
It's fraud. Like it's totally fraud. Complete fraud in this situation.
And then we
that
are
I
saying
mentioned.
this-
These are
True
people
value.
doing fraud now. It's not that the scientific process is doing fraud. Do you understand
So
the
we
difference
are now
you are
exonerating the scientific process from the scientific
even
world.
in the first place. The why we know that they do fraud is because we use a scientific process to trace it.
Now we are using the same spirit to trace that my own religion people too did fraud yesterday.
Yeah,
They
no.
lied to that person. 2 days after. But
And obviously now you are talking science. You are talking exactly what
That's
science
not
do.
Yeah, even
No, that's what science do.
even
no, like I'm saying, my own does not have anything to do with science. Like the
You
scientific
are already
process.
talking the exact process that science do to evaluate data. It's the fact that you claim that somebody did fraud yesterday. Of course. Not that your God has granted like such. Not that it's a constant value. It's that the fact that you even use the same. That's exactly what science is saying.
that gave us false data yesterday to establish truth today.
Exactly.
And
That's what science
So
do.
that's
That's true value.
scientific.
Yes.
We
So
are not
that's what
even sure
makes
that
science
what is said
the-
today is even still true. Because he can come
Of
tomorrow
course.
again and tell us
And
that
discover it's
that-
false.
So how is that true value?
So how's that
Because
true value?
it's
That's not
more
true
of a
value.
cycle.
That's
It's more of a
That's not something I can just start capping.
It's not
It's
just
just pure
rabbit
capping that way.
The
Just pure
difference-
capping, and I can get some things right that we say that those ones too are true value. and
just
not
like
true value.
this guy will prophesy that Nigeria will win, and they will win sometimes they will not win.
And then when they did not win, we say that we were
We see
Yeah.
the part.
That
we see
the
part.
difference now is that if we have to look in terms of numbers, how many percentage of things is science saying, oh, this is true, and then they change the board tomorrow. Oh, this is true.
But
and
we
then
are
they-
solving for true value.
We are solving
Yes,
for
sir.
absolute-
And so we are
absolute
gauging
now.
percentage.
I think
How
truth
is
is
that exactly the same?
truth is absolute.
Truth is binary now. Is it that true or false? And now we are saying even when it is false, it is true.
No,
That is exactly what we are saying now.
Now, here's the thing. Science has a process of looking for the truth. right?
Yeah.
That's the entirety. It's an inquiry. It's a skepticism towards whatever we claim it is, right?
Exactly.
It's like, oh, I am this thing. Thomas Aquinas say, I am this thing. I am because I think I am, or something. You understand?
Okay.
So, and they say, are you sure you are? You are because you think you are. Are they because they say they are? How do you know that it's not because you think that they are? That's why they think they are. That maybe they are not thinking that they are. So the scientific process has a process, and what we really agree on is that anything that we think is the case, we can poke into it and see, does it stand? You understand? That's what science is all about. Anything we say that's the case. This phone can do this. Oh, really? Let's test it. Can it call? Who can it call? How long can it call?
So that's not like pursuit of
it's
truth.
a pursuit of truth.
We're not
No,
true
we're
values.
never going to
So
reach
it's not
truth.
explaining true
So
values.
then
It's just pursuit of what's going to be true.
Which is the same thing with my own religion that I'm starting tomorrow. That
See,
is
even
pursuing
leave your
truth.
religion out of it. Yeah, Betracy, for some
start
seconds.
a so-called religion that has borrowed every scientific process. You can start it tomorrow.
It's not pouring any scientific
What do you mean it's not pouring any?
We are being inspired from above
Betracy.
with different things, and then we are
are
changing
implementing
it every
it
single
and
time when it does not go out.
That's not
Betracy.
what science does.
Betracy, even when you leave your science, your religion out of this, now, how is it still the case? Because we are seeing this as more of a pursuit for it.
Let's take it one at a time. Let me unpeel it. So scientific is in pursuit of truth value, and each truth value they uncover, they set it aside and try to build on it, right? And then they even at that, they still keep looking for what is better truth. What can there be a greater realization? They always look for what is transcendent outside the scope of reality. But if you create this environment, we put H2O together, we get this. When we do this, so they keep setting the parameter. And then what is different between your so-called manifested religion is that it's not that they wake up tomorrow and say this is the case, and then they jump onto another thing. What they do is they say this is the idea. They keep testing it with more data, with more whatever. They look at the details of how do we get here? What can we build on it? Does it crash? Does it? What did I start get anything wrong about that? They keep looking for what's the fastest path from A to B, blah, blah, etc. They keep looking and they keep doing. And we can see the overwhelming data of such reality. This video that we're making, this YouTube, this platform that I've stated for 70, the Google search, the everything. We can see the overwhelming reality of such thing. Now, the argument we are making here against religion is that religion set is constant. You are saying you want to manifest religion. I don't care about the religion you manifest. Most of the religion we have found create a constant. And they want us to believe it is true, despite breaking data. Science will not get drunk on its own supply. We not get high on its own supply and say, no, this is the case and it can never change. It's 90% accurate and now we find out it's 30%. Wow, did we find out this is 90% accurate? Because science will not accept that it's 90% and that's the case. There's nothing you want to tell us.
So
It's
science
90%
is always on the pursuit.
of the truth.
So there's no truth
value
at any point.
You ask me what
Because
is
it's
the truth
agnostic. Science is agnostic, all true. It's just trying to see if it is. Trying
And
to
it's
see if it
everything.
is.
Now,
That's what we are saying.
now
Is
that science, the difference between religion and science now is that science never committed to you.
at
Science
all.
never promised
I
you
know we are
marriage.
saying
Science never promised you
science is
marriage.
truth.
Religion said, I will marry you and did not marry you. And might not marry you.
Yeah.
But now, science is saying...
Now, yes,
So
but
science is
not
even saying that
promising
you marry you.
Science is not sure of what he's saying. Science is not sure of what he's saying.
It's not that it's not sure of what he's
Why
saying.
use me as...
He's testing what he's saying.
Exactly.
So
That's why
where's
the truth
affirmation
value,
of truth
the
in all of
truth
this?
value there, the truth value there that you are getting on is that in scientific process, we establish a state of truth as at a point in time. Does that make sense?
Manufactured by the science of that day.
So that's the claim I'm trying to let you understand. It's not that science will now say this is truth, it can never change. Which religion we do. And you cannot say science don't establish truth. They establish truth as at today. So that's what I'm saying. It's like programming. You log in, it is true when you log in. And then you might be logged out tomorrow. It doesn't mean that you are always logged in.
So if they lie
So they establish truth today.
if they lie to us today and then they come back to tell us about it tomorrow, we can say now it was true yesterday, but now it's not true again.
True again.
Because that's exactly
In the first place, you say they lie to you. In the first place, there's a statement of lie to you. Science is not trying to lie to
They told
you.
us false information yesterday.
Or they later claim to be false information.
The scientific process is not trying to lie to you. People can manipulate data.
That means
People
they are
can
not
do all of
they
that.
are
The
not
scientific
even
process
trying
is
to
not
tell us the
making any
truth.
point. That's what I'm seeing.
They are
from
not
it.
trying
What
to
do you
tell
mean
us
the scientific
the
process is
truth.
not
or
making
If the
any
false.
scientific process is making any point, we should be able to hold the scientific process on it. Like,
We shouldn't
is
forget
this
what
true or
got us
false?
here is the fact that truth value.
Yes. There's something you are getting wrong about this truth value thing. Will this thing record us? Can you say today that this video is recording? Can you just give me an answer?
Yeah.
Will you say today that this video is recording?
I believe that it is recorded.
That's the point of science. And then we might end up this episode and discover that there's no video there. As at now that we are looking at it, that's a red button, that's whatever. Yeah, it's showing red, whatever. It's recording. That's the point of science. So can science give you truth value as at the data they know are available? They will tell you, based on the data we have available right now, this is the case.
So
and on those grounds, on those truths that they established, we have seen them building stuff. We will see them build the computer you are using. We see them build the phone you are using. We see them build the stuff.
And we've seen them lying stuff. We've seen them lying stuff.
Giving us cap.
We give fabricated
Giving us things
stuff
that cause a lot of problems.
Here's the question.
At the same time,
who are the people that end up discovering that? What this camp of people are saying?
Sorry. Let me add this one. I don't like the fact that science is beginning to sound like religion here. Given that when something is positive, like it's giving us this kind of, we say we give the glory to scientific process.
I'm not saying.
But now when people are fabricating data and everything,
but that's not a scientific process. That's the mistake you are making. That's not a scientific process.
Scientific process.
Fabricating data is not a scientific process. Don't you know?
Now this data was peer reviewed. Everything in the scientific process was carried out. And it was confirmed that it is the truth. Like for instance, a good example is several instances, not only one. Like there were peer review research on Ajinomoto stuff and everything. There was everything that the way the science process goes about every other thing was the way it went about the Ajinomoto case. And then
there's human. Is there no human interaction?
There is chance of human error. I agree with that.
There.
But when it comes to that, we should not ascribe that to people. But when it goes the way we want, we say it's scientific process.
Now, the question we are asking, let me maybe I should put it in another word. Maybe the question
I think that's solved my problem. In fact, before you said it, is that solved my problem.
The question, no, not about truth value.
Okay.
The question that you are asking me is about the process or whatever the case may be. More, I'm talking about the epistemic truth, the epistemology of what we are doing. The epistemology of what we are doing, based on real data, based on data that we gather, based on real, authentic, whatever. This is what science is. Science is looking at data the way it is, recording it, evaluating against each other the way it is.
So because
I'm going somewhere. And when it comes to say this religion, we can see this truth this year. Science will not tell you that when A is A and then B is B or B is A. Science will not do that. That's the scientific, the actual. We can both tell you, each other agreed on what the scientific process look like, right?
Yes.
That's true. So now, if someone now use method that less than the scientific process to come up with an answer, and people fall for it, whatever the case may be, is that a problem of science or the people or the scientists?
No, my issue is this. Okay.
Answer the question. Okay. I asked you that when I was asking, when I'm making
that when somebody use a process that is not the scientific process to come
is that the problem of science or the scientific process?
It is the problem of the scientists that did that. Okay, I agree with that. Now we are saying somebody used the exact scientific process but made an error in his calculation or something. And when it was peer reviewed, there was joint calculation error.
Who made the error?
Like anybody made that error. So now,
who made the error? Was it a science problem? Was that our science? Is that what science aimed to achieve?
No, that's not what science aimed to achieve. But the same thing, we can say that.
Is that what science aimed to attain?
No.
We can look at the Bible and say, this Bible is saying truth and false at the same time. Does that make sense?
No, the problem with what science aims to attain now is that.
Okay. Don't confuse these two. It's an epistemology question that me and asking with you.
Okay.
We can look at the Bible and say two things are contradicting each other.
Exactly.
Does science hope to attain that one? Is that what science hope to attain?
The problem is that some Christians too will tell you that the Bible does not intend to do that, and then they will just say that.
We can see that from the epistemology. We don't need to cap. We can see that from the epistemology. It's not about what people see.
Okay.
Well, I'm not doing
now,
people analysis.
The epistemology.
I'm not looking at people analysis. I'm looking at the epistemology.
The epistemology of science is almost useless. To be honest, in the sense that unless it is being brought to life. The epistemology of science, what's the use of the scientific process without it being implemented?
I'm not do I argue about being internet? I'm talking about the epistemology before we talk about the this ontological truth.
Okay.
I'm talking about the epistemology. Okay. Does the epistemology of science hope to attain any confusion? Where we are looking for data, where we look for a scientific, when we say something is a scientific, does he hope to say we go and gather data, we falsify data, and we always say what the American people want to hear or whatever? Is that what science hope to say?
At all.
Yeah, so why are we having all these debates?
Why we're having this debate is that the claim was that the scientific process is truth value.
Yes, because if you use the scientific method, you will get to an ontological truth.
Now we are used the scientific method to get to truths that were not ontological. That's my problem. which is my problem. And that's the example of the COVID. We have cited different examples that we can confirm that the scientific method was what was applied in this situation. Because where do we
What
want
do you
to
mean you
talk?
can confine that was scientific method? Or
The fact that
so what was you to discover a new ontological truth?
the scientific process now led us to another ontological truth. Does that not give us a problem?
Which
the same
problem?
scientific
They are
problem,
confusing each other.
the same scientific process, the same scientific process.
It's not the same. If it's same time,
Now what
it's
changed?
not
What
established the same
changed?
truth.
What changed? More data.
Yes, the same
Now-
way you will
now,
not do.
now are we now
the
saying that
same
scientific
way-
process requires maximum data, optimum data?
Yeah, always look for more data.
Then it's not
Once again,
achievable.
they are not
Then
using-
scientific process is
They
not
are not-
achievable.
they are
So
not-
scientific
they
process is
are
not
not-
optimum data. Why dare we rely on it? Or use it as if it's just like some what do we call those stuff? It was far from reach. Those kind of that's what the scientific process sounds like. If it's expecting
Unachievable.
optimum data.
What do you mean? Now let me give you this.
So it only works in an optimum
I'm going
situation.
somewhere. I'm going somewhere. When science have enough data to create phone, do they create a phone?
When they have enough data.
To create phone, do they create a phone?
The problem is that it was after they created the phone that we are going to judge. When they were using this
Process.
the data in hand to create and they were failing,
Mhm.
we will not say the scientific process has created it at that point.
Oh, so when they have enough data to create the phone,
So when
create
they
the phone.
finally created the phone, we believe that they now have enough data. They might have had more than enough data before they were able to successfully create the phone. So I'm just saying that now when they finally created it, we say they now have enough data to create
Okay.
the phone. So they created the phone
So they did create an ontological truth of a phone.
of a phone as it is. That's what they
That's
created.
what I say science is trying to do. Is to
He's trying.
come,
He's trying.
It's
It is
not-
not.
that's not what
It
he's
is
done
not.
every
and he has done
He's
it
trying
on
to-
things. That's what I'm saying.
On
The
things
fact
and
that it has done
failed
it
at
on
some
things.
things. It has failed at some things.
It has failed
So
at
that's the
others.
truth.
That's the point.
That's the
It has
point.
failed at others.
It's contradiction.
It has failed at others.
Religion has
I'm not
given
seeing any
step.
contradiction here. What we are getting is that we don't say, this thing, earth is flat at the same time is whatever. We say Ajinomoto is not good for your health based on what we have available.
What did we have available that now changed? That's my point. The
New data, more
new
testing.
data. So does that mean that the scientific process anticipates optimum data?
Oh yeah, of course, open to more data.
No,
Why do you-
optimum
no,
is different
data.
from more.
No, optimal data opens to more data. Want to get enough data.
So
set
that
on
means
subject
the
matter.
scientific process could have held judgment when they were making judgment because they should
Of
go and
course,
get more
of
data.
course, now.
So
Of
why
course.
are they now giving judgment when they were not supposed to be giving judgment?
What do you mean they
Why?
are giving judgment when they're supposed to not?
Because why did we come to a conclusion when data is not enough, when the data was not sufficient? How do we determine that data is sufficient?
That's why the real scientific method don't come to a conclusion if the data is not sufficient. But based
How
on
do we know
sufficient
when the
data,
data is
they
sufficient?
come up with a conclusion.
How do we know
And
when
they
the
got
data
that
is
wrong in the past, definitely. And then the same scientific process is what walked them down the path of knowing that, this is the case.
So it's switch and what do you
So
call it
it's still
again?
beta and switch.
It's not
at the end
beta
of the
and
day.
switch. It's not
Beta
beta
and
and switch.
switch
It doesn't
until
look
only
like
when we get it right.
I know.
It is
Till
that's
then.
when the,
And then we are equating it to
we are
truth
equating
value.
it to the true value. And that
It's
is
not bait and switch. It's different. It's not bait and switch. When science will not claim that they have they have reached a final junction where things cannot be improved. They just establish a state truth. And the state truth is that this is the state where we are, this is the truth that we have for it. And then we have seen them done things with that state truth. Okay, prove it to me. And then even it's in that prove it to me that we see the same science project, that we see it break. And then we thought we have figured it out. Okay, we go back, we test more.
So now that we tested it and then we still got to we got truth number 2.
Which is like,
Truth number
Ajinomoto is good for you. It still doesn't
Truth
mean that.
number 2. So now we can't even. So now that they gave us truth number 2, whenever somebody does that to us, what do we say? We say they can never be trusted. Like when somebody is in a court of law, give us truth number 1, then give us truth number 2 again because the
That's
person
an
is,
update
because,
to
because the
number
person is not standing on what's the name. Can that person still be trusted? Do we
Yeah, of
still
course.
trust that person?
Of course.
In the court of law, people can easily strike out such person that the person is inconsistent. That's how it happens. It's very inconsistent.
The mistake is that you are making the mistake of saying they are using the same data to make the same judgment. There's no scientific body that use the same data to make the same judgment.
So
Does that make sense to you?
now that's my biggest.
So if science says 2 plus 2 is 4,
Yeah.
they don't wake up tomorrow and say 2 plus 2 is 75. Does that make sense?
If they have other data.
Unless
What if the data
unless
comes
we are
up and
talking
then-
about another, maybe another base unit or another something.
do you now see the problem?
And then now, but you have added another constraint. Does that make sense to you?
No, like we just had more data
To
So-
discover what is true.
to discover what is true. That means science that does not promise us true value. That's what it implies.
At all.
That's what it means to.
What does it promise us?
It only promises us we are getting there. We are going to get there. That's what it promises us at best.
Yeah, Johnny.
Give us more data.
That's why
Johnny
I'm
has
saying
been-
there's a state value. If that's what you are having problem to get, there's an ontological state value. And that's what science will give you every point in time. And that state value is what I don't think you are getting. A state value is that this is where we are and this is what we know. It's not that we have known it all. It's not that we have established God. It's not that we have filled it with. It's not that we are saying this. This is where we are. This is what we know. And this is how we have come up to be this phone based on what we are and what we. Is this the most efficient use of boards, transistors, or whatever? Can we get more out of that?
We are not sure.
We are not sure. But this is where we are. This is one, and this is the ontological truth we have used to establish.
Now, when we are using it in comparison to things like phone and everything, we all are that's forward progress.
Mm-hmm.
But now when we are using it, comparing it with something that is a flat out lie,
Like what?
like the ones we've cited earlier.
Like Ajinomoto and
And
COVID-19.
everything.
And
That
they were
is
saying
flat
that.
out.
And in fact, if you can look at it, they say 90% whatever. It shows that they are still on percentage. They don't say it's a pure cure
Now,
of COVID.
something that is 90% means
And
that
then with more testing, the score is lesser. And it's the same scientific method they use to get each state value. That's why I call state value. You understand what it means to have a
Not
state?
true value now.
which is
It's
not
state
state value.
value.
That's a
It's
true
value.
state.
State
That's
value.
state
By
value.
truth,
It's not a true of
State truth value.
value.
So which is not
Do
true
you
value.
get my point?
It's not true value as we both started this conversation with it to be. True value as we both started this conversation to be is what is the case.
Yeah.
As of
Because
today.
if it is
As of today.
Now that's what it means to be a state value. This is what it is as of today. I understand the claim you are trying to say that the question you are asking me is more like, do they have everlasting truth? I'm not claiming they have everlasting truth.
we are not
That's not what
It's
the
not,
truth value
it's
are
not
saying.
true today, tomorrow. That means it's not true.
it's not true. That's what
If it's
it
not
is. That's
true
what it
today,
is. That means
I know it's
either
true
one
today,
of
but not
those
true tomorrow.
instances is not true or both instances are not true. That's what's going to be the case.
And it's
If something cannot be
changing
true and then be untrue.
Because that's where we are coming
All
from.
of a sudden.
It can be true and untrue. If you can be logged in today and be logged out in the next 5 minutes.
Can you now see that? Those are now contexts.
No, not context. You are confusing what is meant to establish truth, even in this first place.
Okay, let me give you.
No, let me break it down. You do you agree that someone can come to a website, come to KitKat, log in, and you go in and say, check whether that user is logged in, you say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the person log out, I will ask you, is that user logged in? You say?
I will say no.
And so,
No,
so was it true when you told me that it was yes?
it was true, definitely.
And so was it true when you told me it was no?
Yes.
So
but now
which part is it that?
that's why I do not have any issue with that.
I
being the
don't
case in other
agree with
situations.
that part.
Where I'm having
Kudos
issue
to
is now that
science
kudos
at
to
that
science
point.
for that. Now my issue is now that this is what we know to be. Is this thing harmful to human health? Is this thing carcinogenic? We know what the truth in that situation means. It's not about whether a user does something or if a user does anything or nothing, does not have anything to do with this. This thing is either going to be carcinogenic
Or
to
not.
humans or not. This is not a situation of whether a user is logged in or not.
Now, based on the tools that we have, we know we see that
We concluded
that it's carcinogenic,
and our conclusion was wrong.
and our conclusion was wrong.
Mm.
It's the same thing like based on this.
So
is
that means
data.
so now we understand now. So do you now understand that that's different from user is logged in or not? Because
It's
when
the
we're
same
talking
thing.
about let me tell you where it's different. Where it's different is that when I said the user is logged in, no matter where we want to take it to,
It's
that was true.
That was true.
No matter where we want to take it to, that was true.
And then
when I
when
said
it
user
says
is no longer logged in because the user is logged out, no matter where we took it to,
So
that is
you are
false.
forgetting something. What happened between the time that you said that was true and
A user logged in, user didn't log in.
what happened that changed the fact of this?
What happened was that the user either logged out was what changed. or logged in, or
What
logged out.
happened with the
Now,
logout
this-
event? What was it? What was the logout event?
It was an event or a situation or
More data. That's exactly what
Is
I
it more
Now,
data?
it's
But
not
this
more
one
data.
can't-
It was just context, or should I say situation or
Yeah,
event. So
It's not
an
more data.
happening, a
It's a-
situation.
It's more data. It's whatever it is that they
Even if we call it more data.
It's more
Okay.
data.
Now we are now
Whether it's more
now we are not
data.
coming to the
Let's
question.
go-
That's another question.
let's go
Now,
medical
the direct
about
question
it.
is the user logged in or not?
Straight.
It was that was it. Now we are
Straight
now asking the
answer.
question: does this thing cause damage to the human body system? Is it cancer? Does it cause cancer?
Carcinogen.
Uh-huh.
It has to be either true or
Or
false.
false.
No matter where we
Now,
take it to.
explain,
in this
explain,
world.
explain.
Why is it that it
Why
used
is
to
that
be
the case
false
here?
and now it's
It
no longer false?
changes
What
now.
changed about what changed?
Whether it's more data, for instance, let me give you an example. Whether it's you that now refresh your browser and discover that the user have logged in. Have logged out.
That point where I said it was logged in, I was wrong. It was
Eh.
false. Times I was capping. Not like when I have not reloaded my browser. When I was lying, I was not telling the truth. Because the user was either in a state.
It doesn't have to be that I'm lying, but I was not telling the truth.
I was not telling the truth. What I was telling was not the truth. Because
Not
we know
the
the
case.
truth is either the user is logged in or
Now,
not.
will you say this thing, when you look at your browser, your browser, let's say your admin dashboard, and on that place the user is logged in,
And I did not reload. I did not
you have not
confirm.
refreshed. Were you lying?
Even if I'm not lying, I was not telling the truth.
What do you mean you were not telling the truth?
The truth is
What do you mean we are not telling the truth?
because what I said was not true. I just said something and it was not true. Even I could have said this without looking at the screen, and then I'll just say, the user is logged in. Just because I had an intuition, I saw somebody just holding a phone. I could have just said, that person is logged in. And then I was just capping.
No, you did not use any method now. You look at your screen.
No,
There's evidence of the fact that you look at your
There's
screen.
evidence of the fact that I saw this person asking me that, is this how I log in? And the person say, I'm logged in. No. The person just told me that. I based it off of that. And I say, this person is logged in. I could be doing that too.
That's not what science was doing. That's not what the scientific progress look like.
So the scientific person is not remember to reload.
Now, that's where I'm going. That's where the more data thing comes in. If you look at your dashboard, which is how you get the information of, whether the user is logged in. And then when you refresh, there's an additional refresh that coming. That makes you realize that the user is not. So to say that you were lying at that point in time, if I asked you that were you lying when you said the user was on, when you actually look at that, will you say you are lying? You say what you were doing.
But was he saying the truth?
I was not telling the truth. That's the constant. I was not telling the truth.
Will you say you were lying? Let's start from there.
I might say, even if I say I'm not lying, was I telling the truth? That's a simple question. I would say no.
So let's say you sleep with a girl in the court of law, and then when you ask her, you have checked her ID, and she claimed she was 19, and then you later discovered that she was 17. Were you sleeping with an underage when you were doing it?
Funny thing is that the law itself claims that whether you know about it.
I'm talking about
you. Now, at that
do you
point,
think you were?
okay.
Do you think you were sleeping?
I did not think I was sleeping with an underage, but I was. That was the case. That's the truth. The truth of the matter is that I was sleeping with an underage.
Even
based on whatever we are going to use it. The fact that that was my thought does not matter. It does not make it true. The fact that I was thinking that there are people, it's more like somebody that did not do, even if I did not check her ID, but because I based it off of the fact that she told me. Why would I want to doubt that too?
So, if you are living room,
that means I was not telling the truth. I was not doing the right thing. I was sleeping with a minor, regardless of whether.
Now, I'm going there. So now, when do you find out that you were sleeping with a minor? Was it then or now?
How?
Was it before the fact or after the fact?
So later I discovered or something. So okay, that means I'm just learning the truth. That is what I knew before.
That's what the scientific problem is all about. It's the fact that we know that state of data, even when we look at it at first, even when we have checked it several times, can still be another thing. It doesn't mean that they are not looking for the truth. It doesn't mean that they don't seek truth value.
What we are just we are not arguing that they are not seeking truth value.
It doesn't mean they don't seek truth value. It doesn't mean they don't want to grant their decision in objectivity.
We are not saying they are not trying to.
So that's my claim about science.
Is it the intention? Are we
that's what I say, that the science is about truth value. It's about seeking truth value. It's about establishing truth value.
It's all about seeking. I'm not arguing about.
Which means I don't have any problem.
It's about the state of it.
I believe that was
because this is about saying that the first step is observation, right? Now when we say the selective observation, that has caused problem to the thing, and then we are not saying that's
to wrap up this episode. I guess your point. Your point is that the established state value of a thing may not be truth. But it doesn't mean science is not seeking truth value. That's my argument.
It
doesn't mean science don't establish truth value. That's what I'm not saying.
That's our best bet, right? That's our best bet.
That's not a thing that will not agree with you. That science is not trying to establish truth value, or they are not seeking truth value. But should we take it in absolutism? Obviously not. Even science in itself do not. That's why I'm trying to understand here that science itself do not even advocate that you take it in absolutism.
So we shouldn't clothe it with truth
absolutism. We shouldn't call it truth value at all. Shouldn't even
because that's giving in absolutism.
We shouldn't clothe it with truth value.
It's giving it. And we shouldn't clothe.
I'm not saying science is truth value. I'm saying science is seeking truth value. Science is seeking to establish truth value. And then at every point in time, they establish a state value. A state truth value, which is like, this is where we are, and this is what we know, and this is the truth that we know. Transistor can do this and do this and do that. If you connect to the internet like this, you can do this, you can do that. We establish that state value and we don't. And then tomorrow we tell you that the 5G Wi-Fi that we put is giving people cancer. Do you know that they will do that? I think there was a point in time when this thing, it was going viral that 5G is going.
There was a conspiracy theory like
you know what? I didn't know that we say it was carcinogenic. We have found out that it's the same science that will do that. But what they are trying to do is every time is establish truth value. In fact, science is not hoping that you use their method to do anything. You know, they are not hoping that what they are looking for is to establish the truth. That's why we keep looking, even in the things of religion, faith, and the likes. That's why we say we keep looking, rather than now what we are comparing. Because if you don't get to, if you look at where we are coming from, why I'm saying that science seeks truth or try to establish truth value is that what we are coming from is that some people say this is the case and that will always be the case. So even though it is breaking, they don't plan to change it.
And that's a big problem
of religion. Now, science is about say this is a timeline. Look at, just plot a graph. This is a timeline, and this is what we know to be true. It's 2 now, it's 3 now, it's 4. We have counted it's 7, it's 8. There's the longest running experiment. The man was arguing that something is a liquid. That one material is a liquid. So he put it in the longest run. He put it in this is a funnel, and he said in 20 something years or 50 something years, it has only dropped once. So which has proved his point that. But most people in the scientific world want to believe that it's solid. That this thing is not moving. Now what do you mean is until that first drop, that's when they know. I think it's dead safe. By the time first drop will come, so. And it's the longest running experiment. So that's what science is all about. People may doubt. You know, some people may rush and say, this COVID vaccine that we developed is 90%, and they use it to cash out money. You understand? It's because some people somewhere don't agree, because science is not like that. That's why they keep looking for it and say, no, the case is 10, this case is 20, this case is 80. In fact, later we can even discover that some people say, even the people that recover, the 1,000% of people that recover by themselves. There's nothing like say your COVID clinical work. They recover by themselves. It's not because it's working. So that's what I'm saying. At every point, science is truth seeking, is truth establishing. They establish the truth that they know, and they are not helping. They are not banking that you. They are not hoping that you bank on them. They are not hoping that you are static on it. They are just telling you this is the truth that they know. Do government make decision on that? Yes. Do they get it wrong sometimes? Yes. That's why they keep looking. That's my claim. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll meet again in the next episode. I hope you learn something from all this truth value, because me myself, I'm already having a headache from all these people that are just going back and forth on what we know to be true. We'll see you in the next episode, and you can watch more video like this here, or you go through our shorts if you find this super boring and you skip to the end. I'll see you in the next one.
Peace out.